Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's class, today's revision class. In this revision class, we will look into the three-phase circuits. In three-phase circuit, we will see what is the advantage of having the three-phase power, and all the power that is generated is always three-phase power. The power generation happens as a three-phase, power transmission happens as a three-phase, and in the distribution, that three-phase, like for industries, they give the three-phase power. Industries will require three-phase power, and for the domestic purpose, the out of this three phase, we will convert that into a single phase. We take one of the phase and the neutral, and we give it to the household, which is a single phase power. That is also one of the advantages having a three phase. We can convert three phase into a single phase, and we will look into generation of three phase power, how the three phase power is generated. Then three phase balance circuits. What is three phase balance circuits? We'll see voltage and current relations in star and delta connections. Very important question from the exam perspective. The you have to find the relation between the line parameters and the phase parameters in star connection and in delta connections. And this is one more very important question: measurement of three phase power using two wattmeter method. Very important. And also there are problems based on this, very simple problems. If you remember three formulas, you can solve any kind of a problem. So this would be like if you understand and memorize this properly, you can attempt the theory question as well as the problem. Similarly, there will be problems based on the star and delta connection. That is also, once you have the better understanding of what is star and what is delta connection, what is line voltage and the what is the phase voltage and what is the relation between them, then it's very easy. So all those things we are going to look in today's class. Okay, so three phase circuits. What is the necessity of the three phase circuits? In the earliest applications of AC supply was for heating filament of an electric lamp, right? Earlier, most of the application was like for the lighting purpose or the heating purpose, and the single phase was sufficient to take care of those kind of things. But later, what happened with the industrialization? A lot of new machinery, heavy equipment started coming in, and single phase was not that good for running those kind of a machine. Hence, they thought of uh, having some kind of a solution for that problem. So they came up with the three phase power. So as I told you before, all the generation, okay, all the power generation happens as a three phase. Then power is transmitted as three phase, and at the distribution for industrial load it is given as three phase, or whoever requires three phase power. And for domestic purpose, out of those three phases, one phase and neutral is taken. So that is the star connection. If you remember, in star connections we will have four terminals, okay, three phases and one neutral, and one of the phase and the neutral will be given as a, we can take it as a single phase supply. And what are the advantages of having a three phase over a single phase? There are many advantages of having a three phase instead of a single phase. The output of three phase machine is always greater than the single phase machine of a same size. Suppose if you have same size machines, the output of three phase is always more than single phase for the same size we are talking about. So, and it would be about 1.5 times that much output it will generate. Output that much output will be given more. Okay, in if you have the three phase. For the same size, rating and voltage, three-phase machine takes less space and it is less costlier. Okay, for the same size, same rating, everything is same. If you try to build a single-phase machine, okay, it will take more space compared to the three-phase machine. And for transmission and distribution, three-phase system takes less copper or conducting material than single-phase supply. So if you think about a single-phase transmission, you would require two wires, right? One for the phase and one for the neutral. In case of a three-phase power, we need only three wires. If you remember the delta, all the transmission and most of the distribution is done in the delta fashion, where you would require only 3 lines. That is how we can save on the conducting material or the copper. And it is possible to produce rotating magnetic field by 3-phase supply, hence 3-phase motors are self-starting. This concept is there in the induction motor. Using whenever we connect 3-phase supply to 3-phase winding, a rotating magnetic field is created, right? And that rotating magnetic field rotates with the synchronous speed. That concepts we are going to learn in an induction motor, which you have already learned. In the revision, we will revisit those concepts. So it is possible to have a rotating magnetic field in case of a 3-phase supply. That makes the motors as a self-starting. And 3-phase compared to the single-phase systems, 3-phase system gives the very steady output. Single-phase supply can be obtained from 3-phase supply, but 3-phase supply cannot be obtained from the single-phase. Okay, as I told you before, from 3-phase we can get a single-phase, but from single-phase we cannot get the 3-phase. Power factor of a single-phase motor is poor than 3-phase motor for the same rating. Why power factor is important? If you remember, we have, like, if the power factor tends towards the 1, okay, the highest power factor would be 1 and the lowest value of the power factor would be 0. So as the power factor tends towards the 1, the active component of the power will increase. So in all the power system, okay, they try to improve the power factor, because if they improve the power factor, they can reduce the reactive power and they can increase the active power. And if you remember, active power is the one useful power. In case of a motor, what is observed is, if we have 3-phase, then the power factor is much better compared to single phase. Now, how do we generate the 3-phase power? If we remember, in the yesterday's class, we talked about the generation of a alternating voltage or the current. We talked about the generation of the voltage or the current in yesterday's class. You remember, we had a coil or a conductor having a length of L placed in a magnetic field density of B, and it was rotated with a angular speed of omega or linear speed of V. And when we rotate that particular conductor, it will cut the magnetic flux. Whenever it is cutting the magnetic flux, it will produce the EMF, and that is in the sinusoidal nature. So just on the same concept, there is no difference in that concept. Instead of having just one conductor or one coil, we will be having 3 sets of coils. Okay, 3 sets of coils. They are placed 120-degree apart electrically. So if you see this particular diagram, this is the first coil. So instead of a conductor, just think about a coil. What is a coil? Coil is like, you have a wire and you have wound on a particular core. So you just think this is an armature. Okay, on the armature is made of the magnetic material, and armature on the outer side, just it is not the exact construction, just for your understanding I'm telling. The armature core is a magnetic material. It is cylindrical structure, and on outer periphery we have the slots, and inside the slot we place the coil. Means we wound that coil inside those slots. Just imagine there is a core, and on that armature core we have wound the winding. So this is a R1, R2 is the R phase winding. Okay, and 120-degree apart we have the Y1, Y2. This is another set of coil, and from with respect to R1, 240-degree apart we have one more coil, that is B1 and B2, and all these are placed on the armature core. And when I rotate this, all are going to rotate together. Now I will start with the R1. So R1, when we assume that we are going to rotate it in the anti-clockwise direction. So when I rotate at this position number 1, the direction of motion is upwards and the magnetic flux is also in the same direction. So the flux cut by the R1 phase is 0. Okay, so EMF induced is 0. So when I rotate this one to this position, okay, now the direction of motion is like this and the direction of the magnetic field is like this. The angle between them is 90 degree, and the flux cut by the R winding is maximum. Okay, so EMF produced is also maximum, and when this R rotates further to this position, then again it will cut zero flux. EMF induced is zero, and when this R1 further rotates here in this position, there is a 90 degree angle between the direction of motion and the magnetic flux. The R winding cuts the maximum flux, and the flux produced is maximum, but it is under the opposite pole, so the direction of the EMF would be opposite, so it is negative peak value. When the R1 comes back to the same position, again flux cut is zero. So that is how in phase R phase we will have a one cycle of the voltage, which is very similar to a single phase. Now you just understood about the R phase. Similarly, on the same armature we have Y phase and B phase. When we are rotating this, even these windings are going to rotate. So let us say this is the reference point. When this Y1 will come to this point, the Y1 will have to rotate for 120 degree. Means first at zero reference, R1 will start producing the EMF. When R1 is moved to 120 degree, so if this moves to this R1 moves to this position, then Y1 will come to this position. So that is from Y1, when we rotate further one rotation, the Y phase will start the EMF. So after R starts, after 120 degree, the Y will start generating the voltage. So that is also sinusoidal form. And the B1 is 240 degree apart. After the start of R1, it takes about 240 degree, then B1 will have one cycle. So as we keep on rotating, the R1 is the first phase, then Y phase. Okay, after 120 degree we get the Y phase, after another 120 degree we get the B phase. So this is how the EMF is generated. And if you draw the phasor diagram, so this is the R, Y and B, they are 120 degree apart. The same thing has been explained, whatever we talked here. If you have any question, you can ask me the question. Now, so you can see R is the first phase which will start, okay, immediately at the zero reference. That's why I represent the R phase as ER is equal to EM sine omega t. And Y phase starts after 120 degree. Means what? There is a delay of 120 degree. That's why the instantaneous value of the EMF produced in the Y phase, EY is equal to EM sine omega t minus 120 degree. And in the B phase, so it is B phase is 240 degree apart. Means the minute R phase starts producing the voltage, it takes the B phase voltage will start after 240 degree. That's why the equation is EM sine omega t minus 240. Now, if you see, all these EMs are exactly the same. Why is all the phases will have same kind of a conducting materials and same number of turns. Suppose R phase has 1000 turns of coil and having a particular length and particular cross section area. Y will also have 1000 turns and B will also have 1000 turns, exact same dimension. That is how the EMF induced in each of these phases is exactly the same, and we call it as a balanced supply, where RMS value of the voltage generated in the R phase is equal to RMS value of the voltage generated in the Y phase equals to RMS value of the voltage generated in the B phase. So if ER, EY and EB are equal, then it is called as a balanced supply. Now in the waveform, how do we draw? So ER is what? EM sine omega t. So omega t means what? Zero. Phase is zero, so it starts from the zero reference. As we keep on rotating, so it is going to produce the voltage like this. Then Y phase is 120 degree behind. Okay, so when we start rotating, the Y will come to the reference after 120 degree and it will start generating. So you can see there is a 120 degree lag after ER starts from reference, 120 degree lag, and then EY starts. So that's why this EY is represented as EM sine omega t minus 120 degree. And from the reference, you can see this is the B. Okay, this is the waveform for the B phase. It is lagging by 240 degree, means from the reference point where R phase starts the inducing of the voltage, it takes 240 degree, and after that it will start generating the voltage. Okay, so that's why the equation for the EB is equal to EM sine omega t minus 240 degree. So you have to remember these things. So these three equations and this waveform. If the question is asked how the three-phase power is generated, you have to draw the first diagram. Okay? This diagram where you have the R phase, and by lagging 120 degree you have Y phase coils, and lagging 240 degree with respect to R phase you have the B1 phase, and you have to explain how each of the coil will induce the voltage, okay, taking a different positions. And after that you have to write the equation, and you have to draw the waveform, and then lastly you have to draw the phasor diagram. So phasor diagram, what you can do is you can take ER as the reference, 120 degree EY and 240 degree EB. So that way it would be, you can easily write that particular phasor diagram. Now phase sequence. What is the phase sequence? RYB, and RYB stands for red, yellow, blue. That is the convention that is used so that we can easily identify which is R phase. So R phase is nothing but the first phase which will reach a maximum value, Y the second phase which will reach the maximum value, and B is the third phase which will take the maximum value. So if you see here, R phase becomes takes the first maximum value, then EY takes the maximum value, and EB takes the next maximum value. That is why we call it as the phase sequence as RYB. When I say the phase sequence is RYB, that means R is starting from the 0, Y is starting from 120 degree, and B is starting from 240 degree. So that is how that information is useful. And when we are connecting multiple three-phase systems, we have to make sure that R phase is connected to R phase, Y phase is connected to Y phase, and B phase is connected to B phase. That is how the phase sequence is very, very important. The sequence in which the voltages in three phase reach their maximum positive value is called as the phase sequence. Generally, the phase sequence is RYB. And balance supply. We already talked about the balance supply. What is a balance supply? If the voltage in R, Y, and B is exactly the same, then we call it as a balance supply. How we can have the same voltage in R, Y, and B? We are going to choose all the RYB is going to be in the same magnetic field. So all the conductors will experience the same magnetic field density B, and all conductors are going to be rotated with the same, because they are in the same armature. The speed of all the conductors is going to be the same, whether it is a whatever the speed you choose, all the conductors will rotate with the same speed. And the third aspect is the coil. So the number of turns that is used for each of the phase, and the type of the material and the dimension of the material is exactly the same. The conductor is exactly the same on all the three phases. That is how we can achieve a balanced supply. If we have a condition like that, then the voltage generated by R, Y, and B phases are exactly the same, and we call it as a balanced supply. Now this is the diagram you can see. So this is R, this is Y, and B, and the terminal voltage or the line voltage between R and this Y is ERY, between R and B is ERB, and between terminal Y and B is EYB. So these are called as a line voltages because we are measuring at the terminals here. So this is the generator and these are the terminals. We are getting the supply. Balance supply means what? ERY is equal to EYB is equal to ERB. Or and next is, what is a balanced load? We talked about the balance supply, means the generator is going to generate the same voltage in all the three phases. Suppose if we have what is a balanced load means, all the phases will be having a same impedance, means they will be nature of the load and the magnitude of the load. If they are exactly the same, we call it as a balanced load. In three-phase supply, if the load for all three phases, that is R, Y, and B, is same, then it is called as a balanced load. Both magnitude and nature of the load has to be the same. So what is the magnitude means? Impedance should be same, and nature of the load means, if the load is let us say, so this is the diagram, this is the supply side, balance supply, and this is a balanced load. Load is what? Which consumes the current, so it is going to draw this. It has three phases connected in star. It is going to get the current, means it is going to consume the power. This is the one phase of the load, this is the second phase of the load, and this is the third phase of the load. When we call it as the balanced load, when L1 is equal to L2 is equal to L3. What is the L1 means? It could be like any kind of a load. It can be, as we know, there are three types of the loads: resistor, inductor, and capacitor. Any of these or any combination of these three is called as a load. So let us say we have a RL. So whatever the impedance I get should be same here. This should be RL, this should be RL, this should be RL, and all the impedances should be same. Then we call it as a balanced load. Suppose if we have the same impedance, but the nature is different, means this is RL, let us say impedance is 100 ohm, but this is RC, but impedance is 100 ohm, then we cannot call it as a balanced load. It nature has to be exactly same. If it is RC, this has to be RC, this has to be RC, and all of them should be impedance should be 100 ohm, then we call it as a balanced load. Now this is the important question. Since we have three phases, the three phase can be connected in two different style. Either we can connect it as a star, or we can connect it as a delta. So this is a star. So if we have a star connected load, okay, what we are going to do is, we are going to find the relation between, what relation is, line voltages and the phase voltages. That is simple. First, understand what is star connection. This is one phase, R phase, this is Y phase, and this is B phase. One end of all these phases are connected together. So you can see one end of R, this is one end of Y, and one end of B is connected together, and other ends of the phases forms as the terminal. Reduce the size. So other ends of the winding or the coil, they forms as a terminal. These are the terminals of the load. And this is R phase, this is Y phase, this is Y phase, and this is B phase. Okay. Now what is the first we'll understand what is line voltage, and then phase voltage, then we'll find the relationship. If you measure the voltage between the terminals, those are called as the line voltages. And if you measure the voltage across the each of these windings or phases, then we call it as the phase voltage. So what is line voltage? Line voltage, if we measure the voltage between any of these two terminals, those are line voltages. If we measure the voltage across the windings, any of the three windings, that is called as a phase voltage. Now, what is the line current? The current that is entering the terminal is called as a line current. So this is entering R terminal. This is the line current. This is line current, and this is line current. And what is the phase current? The current that is flowing through the phase. Okay, that is called as the phase current. So here current is flowing in this R phase, Y phase, and B phase. Those are called as the phase current. The line currents are represented as VL. Line voltages are represented as VL. Line currents are represented as IL. phase voltage is represented as VPH and phase current is represented as IPH. Okay, now we will see which are the different terminal line voltages. The voltage that is measured between that is measured between R and B. Okay, that is, we call it as a VBR. It is a line voltage. Line voltage measured between R and Y, that is VRY, that is a line voltage. And voltage measured between the terminal Y and B, VYB, that is a line voltage. So this is line voltage VL, this is line voltage, and this is line voltage. The current that is entering the R terminal IR is line voltage IL. The current that is entering the B phase IB is a line voltage. The current that is entering the Y terminal is a line voltage. The current that is flowing in the R phase is IR. This is the phase current. The current that is flowing in the Y phase, IY, that is also a phase current. And current that is flowing in the B phase, IB, is also phase current. The voltage that is measured between the terminals of the phase, VR, okay, this is phase voltage. The voltage measured across the Y phase, VY, is a phase voltage, and the voltage that is measured across the B phase is that is also a phase voltage, that is VB. Now we understand what is line voltage and what is phase voltage. Now we will try to find the relation between them. Now from the diagram we know that the line voltages, already I mentioned earlier, VRY is equal to VYB is equal to VBR. The line currents IL is equal to IR, IY, IB, and phase voltages VPH is equal to VR, V is equal to VY is equal to VB, because it is a balanced supply. And phase currents IPH is equal to IR, IY, IB. Now in order to find the relation between them, we have to draw the phasor diagram. Phasor diagram is very, very important. So this is, as I told you, when we understood the three-phase power generation, we know that each of these voltages, the phase voltages, are 120 degree apart. So VR, you are going to draw the VR first, that is in with reference, because what is the formula for VR? VR is equal to Vm sine omega t. So it starts from the reference. This is VR, okay, this is VPH, and 120 degree lagging we have VY. So this is not marked here, please mark it. This is VY. VY is lagging 120 degree and 240 degree from the reference. This is the VB. This voltage is VB. Okay, so these are the three phase voltages: VR, VY, VB. Those are the phase voltages. Now how to find the line voltage? Line voltage is what? It is between the two terminals. Okay, we will take an example here, then we'll go back to that phasor diagram. So I want to find this voltage V between terminal R and Y. What is the voltage between terminal R and Y? VRY, that is VL is equal to VRY. And if I trace that inside, so this is the point, okay, and Y, this is the point. So I am measuring the voltage between this point and this point. So VRY is equal to, if I say this as a neutral N, VRN plus VNY. Okay, once again, between terminal R and Y. So if you see, R is this point or this node, and Y is this node. So if I measure voltage between this and this, that would be VRN plus vector, this is a vector sum, VRN plus VNY. Okay, so that is the voltage. This VR is nothing but, you can represent it as VRN, and this is VYN, this is VBN. So what is the sum? VRY is equal to VRN plus VNY. Remember that, and we'll go back to the phasor diagram. Okay, so here you remember VRY is equal to VRN plus VNY, but the phase voltage is what? VYN. So we have to take the negative of that. But VNY is equal to minus VYN. Therefore, VRY is equal to VRN minus Vyn, or as we represented, we did not take the n, so Vry is equal to Vr minus Vy. So this is the line voltage, and these are the phase voltages, and it is not a algebraic difference, this is a phasor difference. Okay, therefore we can write Vry is equal to Vr minus Vy. Where is Vr in the phasor diagram? This is Vr and this is Vy, but we want a minus Vy, so we take it on the opposite direction. You can see here this dotted line, this is minus Vy, and sum of Vr and Vy. So if we draw a line parallel to this and equal to Vr, we get somewhere here, and we draw from here a line parallel to this and it meets here. This is nothing but the Vry. Okay, now Vry is the line voltage. Now we can find the relation. If we consider this triangle OCAO, so here is what OC. We have drawn a perpendicular from this line which will exactly bisect this particular line. So what would be OC? OC is equal to VL divided by 2. What is OA? OA is equal to VR is equal to V phase. Okay, from that triangle we already saw OC is equal to CB because it is going to bisect perpendicular. AC bisect the vector OB. What is the vector OB? We already saw that. This is the vector OB. So this perpendicular AC will bisect it. Means OC is equal to CB is equal to VL divided by 2. OA is equal to VR, which is equal to V phase. So you can see here OC is equal to CB is equal to VRY by 2 is equal to VL by 2. I'm going to take cos of 30. Okay, why cos of 30? That angle is, so what happens is right now we have 120 degree, right? The angle between this and this is 120 degree. When I take it on the opposite direction minus Vy, it is going to cut this angle into half. So this angle is 60 degree. This angle is 60 degree. When we take the sum of these two, when we draw this one, because both are same, this is going to vector OB is going to bisect this angle as a 30 degree. So I am taking cos of 30. This cos of 30, which is OC divided by OA. OC divided by OA. OC is what? VL by 2. OA, we know that it is VR is equal to V phase. Therefore, if you simplify this, VL is equal to root 3 times V phase. So very important derivation. In case of a star connected load, line voltage is equal to root 3 times the phase voltage. Okay, so this is the, remember, if it is line star connected, line voltage is equal to root 3 times the phase voltage. And if you see the line current, this is the line current that is flowing in the terminal, and if you trace it back, the same current will flow in the phase also. Therefore, this line current is also equal to the phase current. It is same for all the phases. This line current is equal to this phase current. This line current is equal to this phase current. So therefore, in case of a star, the line voltage is equal to root 3 times the phase voltage, and line current is equal to phase current. So you have to remember that. And based on this, we will be having the problems. And what is the power consumed in a 3-phase circuit? The power consumed in a 3-phase circuit is 3 times the power consumed in each of the phase. So what is the power consumed in single phase? We have already done RLC, okay, RL, RC, RLC. We know that what is the power consumed? Power consumed is equal to V into I into cos phi. Now we are talking about the phase here. What is the power consumed in one phase? P phase is equal to V phase into I phase into cos phi. And what is cos phi? Cos phi is the angle between the V phase and the I phase. And what would be the angle? It depends on what kind of a load we have. R, C, L, RL, RC. Based on that, this angle will change. And what is the power consumed in the 3-phase? 3 times the power consumed in a single phase. That is, P is equal to 3 times P phase. So power consumed in terms of a phase entities, P is equal to 3 V phase I phase cos phi. And if you want to represent it as a line, we know that in case of a star, the line voltage is equal to root 3 times the phase voltage, or phase voltage is VL divided by root 3. So this is 3, V phase is VL by root 3, and in case of a star connection, phase current is equal to line current, so IL into cos phi. So here root 3 and this root 3 will get cancelled. What remains is a root 3. So if you are representing in a line parameters, P is equal to root 3 VL IL cos phi, and if you are representing it as a phase, P is equal to 3 times V phase I phase cos phi. Similarly, for the delta connection, this is a delta connection, R, Y, and B, same concept. These are the line voltages, these are the line currents, and the voltage across this is the phase voltage, that is VRY, and VYB and VBR are the phase voltages, and the phase currents IRY, and this is IYB, and this is IBR. So one thing you have to remember here is, one thing is, apart from all other notations, always current will enter the load. So the direction of the current is like this, it will enter the load. When you are marking the phase current, be careful, this has to be R, Y, and B. The current you take like this, you see the direction IRY, IYB, and YBR. Okay. Now, if you see from this diagram, if I say line voltage VRY, you can see VRY. If I trace it here, this is R and this is Y. So it is nothing but the phase voltage. So what we are saying, the line voltage is exactly same as the phase voltage. Suppose if you want to consider BR, okay, this is the terminal B and this is the terminal R. So this is the line voltage which is exactly same as the phase voltage. So in case of a star connection, line voltage is equal to phase voltage. But how about the current? If you see here, line current IR, when it comes to the node R, it has two parts. So it will go in that direction. So this is outgoing and this is outgoing current IRY, and this is incoming current IBR. If I apply KCL to this terminal, what will happen? IR, okay, which are the incoming currents? Sum of incoming currents is equal to sum of outgoing currents. This IBR is incoming to the node R, line current IR is incoming, and IRY is outgoing. Therefore, I will write IR is equal to, sorry, IR plus IBR is equal to IRY, or IR is equal to IRY minus IBR. And IR is the line current, IRY and IBR are the phase currents. So that will give me a relation. So here line voltages same, line currents are exactly the same as in the star. Phase voltages is VRY, VYB, and VBR. Line currents, phase currents IPH, IRY, IYB, IBR. You have to mark the way I have shown you. Here is the small diagram that you can remember. So these are the three phases. This is IRY, this is IYB, IBR at node R. Okay. IR plus IBR, that is IR plus IBR is equal to IRY, or IR is equal to IRY minus IBR. Now we are going to draw the phasor diagram for the currents, phase currents. Okay, the phase currents and phase voltages are exactly 120-degree apart. So first reference is the what? Where the current will start first? Current will start first in the R phase, because R voltage starts from the 0. Now IRY, this is the phase, IRY, then 120-degree apart IYB, okay, and 240-degree apart IBR. This is the third current. Now what we have to find? We have to find the IR. Okay, IR is equal to what? IRY minus IBR. Where is IRY? This is IRY and this is IBR. If I take opposite to this, I will get minus IBR. So I will take opposite direction like this. This is minus IBR. Vector sum of IRY and minus IBR will give me the IR, which is a line current. And this is 30-degree, similar to what we did in the previous case, that is star connection. And if I take the cos of 30 again, now here OC is equal to CB is equal to IL by 2 and OA is equal to IRY is equal to I phase. Again, cos 30 is equal to OC upon OA. Okay, cos 30 is what? OC upon OA. OC is what? IR by 2 or IL by 2. Okay, cos 30 is root 3 by 2. IRY is what? IRY, which is a phase current. I phase, this IR is line current. So if you solve this, what you get? IL is equal to root 3 times I phase. Excuse me. In case of a delta connection, the line current is root 3 times the phase current and line voltage is equal to phase voltage. So you have to remember these two relations. In case of a star, the line voltage is equal to root 3 times the phase voltage and line current is equal to phase current. In case of a delta, the line voltage is equal to phase voltage, line current is equal to root 3 times the phase current. So exactly they are opposite. The relation is exactly opposite. What is in star is exactly opposite to what is in delta. Please remember, don't get confused. Okay, there will be problems based on this. And three phase power, similar to what we did, three phase power is equal to 3 times the power consumed in a single phase, that is P is equal to 3 times V phase I phase cos phi. And if you want to represent as a line voltage, here V phase is equal to VL, but I phase is equal to IL by root 3. You will get the same relation. P is equal to root 3 VL IL cos phi. So always whenever you are solving the problems, please use the phase entities, okay, and then convert it into line entities. Now wattmeter method, don't refer to this. Okay, I have already told, don't this is very short form. In the examination they will expect the complete the phasor diagram and all the explanation. If you get this question, don't write this one. I have already shared the other notes, okay, where I have a detailed instruction. You can use this one, and if it is not available with you, I am going to attach it with the today's video. So with today's video I am going to attach this PDF. You can take a look. Okay, so measurement of three phase power, one method is what? I can use 3 wattmeters, connect 1 wattmeter connected in each of the phases, and I measure the power. The other way is using 2 wattmeter. Just using the 2 wattmeter I can measure the 3 phase power. So first we will understand the connection. This is the 3 phase load, okay, connected in star, and we have connected 2 wattmeters, wattmeter 1 and wattmeter 2. The wattmeter has 2 coils, current coil and the potential coil. The current coil, if you see the connection, it is in phase with, in line with the R phase. Okay, it is in series with the R phase. And the potential coil, you can see it is connected between the node R and node Y. So basically current coil, the full line current will pass through that, and for the potential coil we apply a voltage VRY. If I consider this wattmeter 1, what is the current going inside that? IR. What is the voltage across it? VRY. Okay, and this is the node on the Y phase. And one more wattmeter is connected in B phase. You can see current coil is in series with the B phase, and what current will flow in the current coil? IB. And what is the voltage that is applied for this wattmeter 2? One point is connected to B and one point is connected to Y. So VBY is the voltage. Now what it will measure? We know the equation for the power, that is voltage into current into cos of the angle between them. So here voltage is VRY into IR into cos of the angle between VRY and IR, and similarly it is for this. We have RYB. This voltage is VRN. Between this R and N, this voltage across this is VYN and VBN. These are the phase voltages, and we have all the line currents. Now we will draw the phasor diagram. So here current through the current coil of wattmeter 1 is IR. We already checked that. And what is the potential? VRY. Okay, and what is VRY? It is VRN minus VYN. So already we discussed about this. VRY is equal to VRN minus VYN, and we are going to draw the phasor diagram. So it is clear from the phasor diagram, the phase angle between VR and IR. We will see this, how we get it, cos 30 plus Y. First, with this understanding, we draw the phasor diagram. Okay, please understand the phasor diagram. It is very simple. How we are going to draw the phasor diagram? We start with the phase voltage VRN. First, draw this line VRN, then 120 degree apart VYN, and 240 degree apart VBN. Okay, so once you have these three, okay, VRN is there, VYN is there, VBN, and what is the phase current? IR, IY, and IB. Okay, why IR? In case of a star, line current is equal to phase current. Now, assuming that this is a RL load, the current will lag the voltage by an angle phi. So just with a small angle phi, you draw IR. Means the current in R phase is lagging the R phase voltage by an angle phi. Similarly, for VYN, IY is the phase current which is lagging by phi, and in case of a VBN, IB is lagging the voltage by an angle phi. So this angle is phi. Now you have drawn R, Y, B phasors and lagging IR, IY, IB by an angle phi. You have drawn. Now what is the voltage? That is what is the current flowing through the wattmeter 1 IR, and what is the current VRN minus VYN. Where is VRN? This is VRN, and this is plus VYN, and this is minus VYN. And phasor sum of VRN and VYN is nothing but the VRY. Now, what is the voltage? What is the current that is flowing in wattmeter 1? IR. What is the voltage across wattmeter 1? VRY. So, what is the wattmeter reading? Will show IR into VRY into cos of angle between them. Okay, what is the angle between them? You can see this is 30 degree. Why this is 30 degree? This will bisect this, that is 120 degree. So this angle is 60 degree, and this VRY will bisect the 60 degree into 30 degree. So angle between VRY and IR is 30 plus 5, that is 30 plus 5. So that is how we get the equation. So it is clear from the phasor diagram, phase angle between VRY and IR is 30 plus 5. That's why wattmeter 1 is equal to VRY into IR into cos 30 plus 5. Very important formula you have to remember. Similarly, for the wattmeter 2, we will do the derivation. What is the current flowing through the wattmeter 2? IB. And what is the voltage across the wattmeter 2? VBY. Okay, so VBY is nothing but VBN minus VYN. Okay, similarly, current through the wattmeter 2 is IB. Current across the wattmeter 2 is VBY, which is VBN minus VYN. Now we will find that one. So what is the current flowing here in wattmeter 2? IB. Okay, and what is the voltage? VBN minus VYN. Where is VBN? This is VBN, and this is minus VYN. Sum of that is VBY. Okay, now angle between these two is 30 degree. Now I have to find what is the voltage across the wattmeter 2? VBY. Current is IB. What is the angle between them? This complete angle is 30 degree, and this angle is 5. So angle between IB and VBY is 30 minus 5. Okay, so that is how I can write the equation for the wattmeter 2. Wattmeter 2 is equal to VBY into IB into cos 30 minus 5. This is very important. Two formulas for W1 and W2 you have to remember, and always remember W2 value is more than the W1, which will help in solving many problems. So now we will represent this equation in terms of the line currents. So we know that VRY is equal to VBY is equal to VL, and IR is equal to IB is equal to IL. That's why W2 is equal to VL IL cos 30 minus 5. W1 is VL IL cos 30 plus 5. So these two formulas very important. Now we have to prove that both reading together will give us a three-phase power. Means 2 wattmeter is sufficient to measure the three-phase power. That's why W2 plus W1 VLIL cos 30 minus 5 plus VLIL cos 30 plus 5. You simplify this, you get it as W2 plus W1 is root 3 times VLIL cos 5. What is root 3 times VLIL cos 5? Which is nothing but the a three-phase power. So that's why 2 wattmeters are sufficient to measure the three-phase power. Similarly, we can find the power factor using the wattmeter reading only. Wattmeter 2 is VLIL cos 30 minus 5. Wattmeter 1 VLIL cos 30 plus 5. W2 plus W1 we already know, root 3 VLIL cos 5. W2 minus W1. If we simplify, what we get? VLIL sin 5. W2 minus W1 is VLIL sin 5. And if I take the ratio of W2 minus 1 upon W2 plus 1, I get VLIL sin 5 divided by root 3 VLIL cos 5, which is nothing but tan 5 divided by root 3. That's why tan 5 is equal to root 3 W2 minus W1 divided by W2 plus W1. So you have to remember this formula also. What is phi? Phi is nothing but the angle between the voltage and the current, and cos of this phi is the power factor. So you can find the power factor. Cos phi is equal to what? Cos of this tan will come on this side, tan inverse. So you don't have to worry about this. Just remember this formula and find the angle, and cos of that angle is the power factor. So important three formulas you have to remember. What is W2, what is W1, what is tan phi. So this is the effect of load power factor on the wattmeter. This is the angle between the voltage and current. 0 means this is resistive. 90 means either it is a capacitor or a inductor, and in between some readings. So cos of 0 is 1, cos of 60.5. Cos of any degree greater than 60, it will be less than 0.5. Cos of 90 is 0. You can see here wattmeter 2 reading. If I take, what is the formula for wattmeter 2? VLIL cos 30 minus 5. So 30 minus 5 is what? 30 degree. So I get positive value. Wattmeter 1 30 plus 5, I get wattmeter. So both the wattmeters will read same. So conclusion, W1 is equal to W2. Total power is W1 plus W2. But if it is 60 degree, wattmeter 1 is VLIL cos 30 minus 60 degree. Cos of minus 30 is I get a positive value. And in case of a wattmeter 1, VLIL cos 30 plus 5. What is 5? 60. 30 plus 60 is 90 degree. Cos of 90 is 0. I get a 0. And if I increase the angle further, this will become positive and this is negative. Okay. And if it is 90 degree, we have the positive value here and negative value. Both are equal but in opposite direction. W2 is equal to W minus W1. Total power consumed is 0. Whenever the wattmeter 1 is negative, when it shows the negative values, you must have seen the wattmeter, there is no readings on the negative value. So one of the two terminals will be changed, either the potential coil or the current coil terminals are reversed. We get a positive deflection, but that value is taken as negative.